If you've gone to the movies in the last decade, you've probably seen this. A bunch of different options with drastically different prices. This can be confusing. Gone are the days of showtimes running throughout the day in a single theater. The modern movie business makes you choose. But what is Dolby, AVX, 4DX, or IMAX? Simply put, the same movie is being shown, however, it is being projected in a multitude of different ways. To understand why premium screens have become such a contentious issue in this business and why there are so many of them, we first must understand the differences between the various formats. Let's start with the basics. This is of course your standard movie theater experience found at any Cineplex, AMC, or small independently owned theater. They have the cheapest tickets and the theaters are most abundant within the movie business. Then there's 3D. These projectors use polarized light to create the illusion of depth, which is branded as making the film more immersive. Still, to most people, 3D is often dizzying, contributing to its waning popularity since the format broke out onto the scene in 2009 with Avatar. Hollywood is historically a reactive industry, and so when they saw the success of Avatar, they instantly deemed 3D the next big thing. However, unlike Big Jim, most movies are not natively captured in 3D, meaning on set with a camera capturing two perspectives. Instead, most movies are sent to a lab where they undergo a process called post-conversion, where a movie is taken in its native 2D format and artificially converted to 3D. This became all the rage for a few years as studios aimed to capitalize on the craze and higher ticket prices of the 3D format just to make a couple extra bucks. However, this trend of post-conversion sickened audiences to the idea of 3D. Although Big Jim has shown, when done right, 3D is still a very lucrative format. The Dolby digital cinemas are next on our list and are most commonly found at AMC theaters. They use dual 4K laser projectors that create 4 times the resolution of the standard theater experience we discussed earlier. These projectors produce super crisp images with deep blacks and bright highlights at 500 times the contrast ratio and twice the brightness of a standard projector. Dolby is the best HDR you can find, intended to create a more realistic picture. But the biggest difference with Dolby is their sound system, titled Dolby Atmos. All movie theaters use surround sound, which means using more speakers positioned around the theater so the viewer can hear sounds coming in the direction they are supposed to be on screen, like to your right or to your left. But Dolby Atmos is like super surround sound. It uses many more speakers to envelop the viewer in the theatrical experience. There are even speakers in the ceiling and below your seats. And then there's IMAX. Unique to the product is its huge screen. It can be up to 40% larger than the standard theater screen and uses a taller aspect ratio than other theaters, meaning you're going to see more of the image rather than those black bars on the top and bottom. You see, IMAX is unique in that, unlike Dolby, IMAX has movies shot specifically for their theaters. While most films are shown in either a 185:1 or 235:1 widescreen format, IMAX is projected at 143:1 and utilizes 70mm film, which is twice the width of traditional 35mm, which allows IMAX to capture intricate details with exceptional clarity. The specialized IMAX projection system employs dual projectors simultaneously projecting 2 images onto an expansive canvas. The result is an immersive audio-visual extravaganza that captivates the audience with vibrant visuals and awe-inspiring scale. You'll often find films shot in IMAX keep their action very center frame, careful not to cut the action to a new focal point lest the audience snap their necks trying to follow it across such a massive screen. IMAX has become something of a buzzword in Hollywood in the last decade, having taken off as the premier blockbuster viewing format. Movies like Endgame, No Time to Die, recent Mission Impossibles, Hunger Games, Dune, Avatar, Nope, and of course The Dark Knight were all at least partially shot on 70mm IMAX cameras or certified IMAX digital cameras. with the latter and its director Christopher Nolan being the first to give IMAX a shot and popularize the format in professional filmmaking. The 25 minutes of IMAX footage used in The Dark Knight was an incredibly successful gamble, and since then, Nolan has kept his partnership with IMAX close, even through his newest movie, Oppenheimer.
I've been working with the IMAX format for years now, and it has this extraordinary strength and power in terms of how deeply it can take the audience into the story.
So yeah, there are a lot of formats, and they're just the tip of the iceberg. There are so many more options like 4DX, AVX, and RDX, but these formats are fewer and far between, so I don't have to cover them in this video. As you can tell, there's a lot more to these formats than just their name, but in case you're still a little bit confused, here are a few takeaways from all those specs. Bigger screens, newer projectors, and larger sound systems are going to create a better theatrical experience. But there is also nothing wrong with going to see something in regular standard theater. All these formats give us a choice, and while the average moviegoer is unlikely to notice the difference the high dynamic range makes in a Dolby screen, there are many people who are passionate about how they watch a movie. And who can blame them? At their best, movies are transportive and immersive, unlike any other art form. All these formats give moviegoers a choice, a customizable movie-going experience where the theatergoer can make a choice based on the value of each trip to the silver screen. If you just want to see a fun summer comedy with your friends or a small drama, then the standard projection is probably just fine. Maybe you want to be extra scared at your next horror movie, so the upgraded surround sound of Dolby Atmos is the right choice. But if you're seeing the big blockbuster you've been waiting all year to watch, then it might be worth shelling out a few extra bucks to make your experience that much better. Coming out of the pandemic, the box office has been struggling. The surefire franchises of a few years ago now seem vulnerable, and the movie-going public has been conditioned to sit and wait for films to come to streaming so they can watch it from the comfort of their own home. So now more than ever, the advent of premium screens has become so much more important. The higher ticket prices ensure greater box office, which adds to the studio's bottom line, and in a time where the margins in entertainment have been converging, every premium screen counts. Losing a film's premium screens can mean the difference between holding your placement in the weekly box office and sliding down the list. And it's for this reason Hollywood studios and the theater industry at large have placed a huge point of emphasis on these premium screens and why they've become such a contentious point in the industry in the last few years. That's all for the video, folks. Thank you. I hope you learned something in this video. If you want to do some more research, I've linked a couple of the company's websites in the description below. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a great deal. So I hope to see you at the next video.